Ooh, that's so
Hello.
intense. The dun dun dun
Right?
dun dun dun. Right? I know.
Like, get me there. I want to play in there.
I
Which,
mean, truly, but also when it's like me, all of a sudden, all I feel is like it should be like the da 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 da.
like a Mario Kart theme of just.
Right? Right? Yeah. I know. Wahoo!
Well,
I'm
what
sorry,
an
I killed your introduction. Hi.
this is going to be the best live stream, I think. Welcome everybody to our DM deep dive with the GM Tim. Thank you
Duh.
for your patience. The GM Tim. Tim, I think the castle ghosts are not happy that you're going to a different castle this year. So I think that might be why we had technical difficulties.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to suck it up. They'll just have to bring me in November. I'll
yeah.
have to wow enough people to be like, we want Tim.
Yeah, well, we can do that here. So I'm so
Let's
excited
do
to get
it.
to chat with the GM Tim about his upcoming campaign at our U.S.
Do
castle.
you do that to everybody? The like
The
do you like double down on the every
yes.
time you say
Oh my
it's
gosh, he's gonna be
awesome.
so much fun. Welcome everybody. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. Ask your hardest questions to GM Tim, your easiest questions to me, and we're excited to go.
Rude.
So why don't we start with just start off with giving everybody a teaser of what you've got planned for your campaigns this summer. Get them
Ooh,
excited.
a teaser. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. How much of a nerd teaser do you want?
However much of a
Like I have
teaser.
different levels of teaser. So like we
Ooh,
got like I'm gonna be running a I want to say kind of like as classic a sort of campaign as I could have thought up of.
ooh,
Like
okay.
it's very much like Boreal Forest, uh, epic story of like you even get to fight a dragon.
You get to fight a dragon
Like I'm
in
actually
Dungeons
putting a
and Dragons.
dragon in Dungeons and Dragons. I know, wild, right? Although
Don't
to
spoil
be
if there's a
fair,
dungeon. Don't spoil
I
if there's
think
a dungeon.
yeah, I won't tell anyone if there's a dungeon. I think I've actually had a dragon in all of my D&D in a Castle games. I think. I don't know. I've never actually paid attention to it now. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be good.
Well, give us the teaser. Yeah, let's do
So
it.
I got I got a poem. Do you want the poem? Uh
I
yeah,
would
yeah. So I
love the
have an
poem.
NPC that
Give
does an
us the
introduction.
poem.
So one of my favorite NPCs I ever created for games. His name was Jack Lynn. Jack Lynn was a halfling bard who talked like this. Like Jack Lynn was this tiny little halfling with his boisterous voice, and so Jack wrote a tale. So do you want me to tell the tale? Okay.
Yes, I think that people want
I
the
know
tale.
even if they don't, you do, and that's enough for me. So so give me a second here. Yeah, okay. All right. There we go. Okay, so a lute strums and the tavern silences. In the days of yore, when green boughs brushed the sky, there dwelt a king, mortal, not crowned by kin, but chosen by the wood and whispering winds high, a spirit clad in leaf with root and stone akin. The Green King bore a crown of woven might, living branches and gems agleam with power rare. He called the trees to dance, the rivers to fight, and the storms arose to answer his noble prayer. For 3 fair rains the land did bloom and thrive, the forest heart and human swell entwined, and the fields grew full, the streams ran deep, alive, and beast and king in harmony combined. Lo, kingdoms fall and legends fade to dust, and men with steel did breach the forest shade. The last king stood as every true king must, and with his life the forest debt he paid. Lost to the shadows, go away windows. Lost to the shadows, depths the crown now lies, and no hand since has worn its rightful grace. The forest guards it close from mortal eyes, its memory kept in ancient hallowed space. Jack final chords fade, and and then he straightens. Sly smile creeps upon the face, eyes glint in the firelight, and they begin to collect their coin from the entertainment. Not bad. Yeah, thank you. you.
Excellent. This song feels more appropriate. The little
Snaps.
snaps. Excellent. Oh my gosh, the little snaps. Oh my gosh,
That was
that
my
sounds awesome. I think it's a great little taste of what it's like to have you as a DM at the
I mean,
table.
that's definitely how it starts.
Yeah. I mean, let's go. After that, ready
It
to
ends
go.
with absolute chaos. As you can attest, you were part of that chaos last adventure.
I helped with the chaos. Yeah, you are so well known for pulling other people into helping NPC your games, and even going out to different locations outside of your game room to go play like combats, right, where you're physically moving around the
Yeah,
space.
I'm excited for that this time.
So
I hope I don't drive everyone crazy because this
yeah,
castle sounds like it's shaped a little bit different.
yes, just a little different. Lots of outdoors. So I don't know, make people climb up trees. Don't make people climb up trees. But there's so much space outside that you can use um, for that. So that's really exciting. And we have someone who already commented and saying that have you done any audiobooks? Your voice is so amazing.
No, I haven't done an audiobook. Should I do an audiobook? Should I do what would I read? What audiobook would I do? Winnie the Pooh. Oh, bother.
I think that'd be would be great. Yep. Oh yeah, I think the people would listen.
The people would listen. That's awesome.
The
people. The people would listen to the GM Tim. That's right.
Well, hopefully this is a great example of what it's going to look like playing at your table. A bunch of laughs, but also I know there's lots of tears too.
There can be. It's not a guarantee. There can be. Yeah. And usually not until the very end. I think we had, I guess, twice, because you got to see a different version. You got to see the Chronicle mode, right? So you saw me kind of end twice for the same group, and so it just ramps it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that end day, that 6th day, that was pretty epic. You came in as a voice, and Liam came in as the actual mechanical embodiment of a time dragon, a void dragon, as it were. And they still talk about that. Hey, I got to go to I was in Kuwait last week. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know. What a flex, right? I was in Kuwait last week running games for 2 of the guys who were at the table in the castle, and they wanted me to come run games for their home game. And they still talk about you and Liam running the big end. That made a huge impact. So you're going to be at the castle with me in this one coming up, right? In the summer?
Yes, I will be. I'll be for the first week. Yeah, so I'm sure you can cook
then
up
we will
some,
definitely make sure that you are in there being nasty. I mean, helping.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Only ever helping.
Yeah.
Me.
Only ever helping.
Not them.
Yes. For those who don't know, Chronicle Mode was in our last November castle in the UK. It was a 2-week 2-week campaign. All campaigns are usually just the 1 week, but this one expanded through the 2 weeks. So there was double the game time, double the camaraderie, double the fights. So you were one of the first DMs to do that for us at the castle, which I think was awesome. And we're bringing that back this November. However, definitely have a question for you for your US castle. We have let's see, I saw it. So Emeris asked, Tim, what kind of players do you think would be most attracted to your game style?
Players who are willing to embrace the chaos. And I don't mean that as in there's no rules. More in I like to do a lot of storytelling, but I like to use a lot of what you give me. So if you come to the table and you have if you have a character, great. If you have nothing else, I won't. I need more than just the character. I need to know like what's driving your character. Is there something in your backstory that I'm allowed to fiddle with to, you know, propel you forward or to force you to question how your character would react. I like to look at some of the games that I run as like I like to look at some of the games I run as like some people look at poker. So in poker, it's just as much about playing the other players as it is about playing your character or your hand. And I think in D&D, I think it's very much the same. I think a really good DM will be able to play the players because especially experienced players who are going to be at the castle, we know the tropes, right? We know the gimmicks, we know the hooks. And a lot of us know the monsters, right? So if I put down something and say this is an orc and it does something that it doesn't normally do in the book, now I'm like kind of messing with you, and you know that I'm messing with you, but you can't call it out because you don't know, right? And so it's kind of this extra sort of fun step of like I enjoy kind of messing around that way. Yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
it.
So
Like
it sounds
you
like,
need to be able to play into it.
yeah.
If you're looking for like heavy maps, I'm not your person. I will use maps. And every group that I've ever ran at the castle will know that. I've run everything from like the 3Ds to like just slap something down on the table and this is here and this is here, go. But it's usually only when we need it. If you're like sneaking into a castle, then you know let's talk about what that looks like because we don't need to fuss around with like 5-foot squares. Or I will do what I've done in the Lumley Castle, and I'll actually take you to the hallway of heads, and you will sneak around the castle. Each tile on the ground will become that tile on the board. It's a little LARPy, but it's also kind of cool, and so I can do it. So why not? That's something to be aware of. I don't force everyone to move around. Like everyone is like, look, I have mobility issues, Tim. I can't do this. Then I'm not going to force it. But yeah, I like to incorporate the actual space into it because when will you ever get to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're here playing D&D in a castle. I think it's a great opportunity to get to go experience the castle
Yeah,
parts of
exactly.
it, which is really exciting. Yeah. Yeah. Jason Navarro says Tim's table is full of flavor, which I think is a really great way to describe it.
Jason's been in a couple of my games. I saw Chris's comment too. Love playing with you. I love playing with you too, man. Yeah, Jason's been in a couple that have been pretty potent. Jason, I think, was in the first group that I properly made cry at the end. I think it was a few years ago now, but yeah, it was solid. It was solid. But it was that full moment when we're like big. I think I have a picture somewhere of like all of us in a big group hug. It's like it's okay.
Just so invested. It sounds like very genuine too, not forced.
I hope
Just
so.
this is
Yeah,
where the game and
that's what I want. Like we forget sometimes how much time actually like there's a lot of time that goes into the DMs preparing, right? And like I know that every DM has gone through the moment when the players have done something that you have to like, I have to come up with something completely different despite having prepped for months, right? But because you prepped for months, that coming up with something different isn't as dramatic as it kind of feels in the moment, right? Because you know kind of like where it needs to go. So it's just a filler, if nothing else. I really enjoy though that the players all come invested, and because they come invested, it's easy to kind of like feed into the intensity, I guess, of the game. Plus, most people game like what, every 2 weeks on average. Like some get to play every week, and that's a rare case that a group gets to play every week. But most groups play every 2 weeks to every month. So we're playing 24 hours, which is, you know, between 6 and 8 sessions, depending on how long your sessions go, right? That's between like, so if you do 6 sessions, even if we did 6 sessions, right? right? Yeah, six at 4. So if we did 6 sessions, then every 2 weeks, that's 3 months, right? If you're doing 8
Yeah.
sessions, that's 4 months. 4 months is a long time to play a game through, and you can see that progression kind of like over time. But in the castle, it feels so big because you're playing it all in kind of like one condensed chunk, and it becomes very aware that it's like, oh my god, this is what a campaign feels like, and it has given me more appreciation for my longer form campaigns that I run at home, because it is a cool way to kind of like, it's a cool thing to see the progression in the short form, and then rather than like, long form, you have a better appreciation for the long because of the shortness of it. I rambled a whole bunch. I think I hit
Yeah.
5 different topics. I hope you're keeping track,
We
because
love that.
I don't. This
Oh,
is
yes.
yeah.
I've got I'm keeping track with you. I really do. I think that's a really good point to make too. And you've been doing this for quite a few years. You were one of the first DMs, right?
Yeah,
If I
apparently
recall,
I'm
to join us
DM
at
number
D&D.
1.
Number 1.
Yeah, which I found really cool.
GM.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they when they first came up with the idea, I don't know if it was Tara or Cam. Somebody put a message in a Facebook group I was part of event planners and con runners for D&D, basically saying, does anyone know of any D&D DMs for a private event that's pretty big? And so I just like, hey, yeah, I have a list. Give me more information and I'll reach out to my people and make sure it's okay. And so I reached out to like a ton of people and collected everyone and sent it to Cam and Tara and said, there you go, have fun, good luck with your event. And then like a couple months later, they said something about like, hey, thanks for all the help. Do you have your ticket yet? And I said, what ticket? Well, to come and see it, you gotta have a ticket to come and run games. It's like, I'm what? You want me there? Oh my god! So yeah, I had no clue. I was completely like, I'm the prettiest DM. So I was totally oblivious. And then yeah, so I got to go. So I've been 2018. Every year that it has happened, I've been to the castle every year.
Yeah. So, what keeps you coming back? Like, why do you keep coming back to the castle year after year?
Because it's cool. Where else do you get to run D&D in a castle?
Wow.
I don't mean to be like super simplistic, but that's it. Like, it's just wild, right? Like, the fact that so many people now come back to the castle is also, we noticed that the second year already there were repeat people coming in, and it became this kind of like, it wasn't a clique, because anyone who was there before was almost really excited to see new people. It was like the reverse of a summer camp where they kind of like congregate on groups of like new and old, and that has kind of like just gotten bigger as the years have gone through, and so seeing new people is still very cool, but seeing the people that have been there before, such a joy. Like, that's actually probably one of my favorite parts about the castle, is seeing the people that I only get to see at the castle. That it's just neat.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a really great way to meet other like-minded players who are just excited to be there to play D&D in a castle. It's you just kind of see that there's no one seems to feel excluded. It's just like, oh yeah, you like D&D Cub. Oh, you like, let's do this. Let's all talk. And just the camaraderie has just been, it's amazing to watch.
Yeah, and then it's cool that there's different castles that we can do too now, right? Like, I'm curious to see what the Ohio. It's Ohio. Come on, like, it's very funny to me. But this castle that's in our background, right? Like, that's part of the reason I picked a forest thing, is because like it has just these, it just screams elf. I didn't know that it was on the who's the chef dude? Gordon Ramsay's hotel thing. He did this place.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, he did.
I think
Yeah,
that's
and
cool.
it's thrived.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's thrived since
Well,
then.
we get to
It's
thrive. We
awesome.
get to help it thrive. I think that's really neat,
Yeah,
right? But so yeah, so I
yep,
like because it's like very elf forward, uh, and very kind of like forest leaning. I thought, well, let's do something kind of different for me, and let's lean into that forest vibe, right? I grew up in
yeah,
BC,
yeah,
right? So walking through a forest is nothing new to me. So I was kind of always very much like, there's other terrains that I would like to play in. But yeah, I really loved it. I'm actually super excited. I get to do some pretty twisted things. Like, I'm actually genuinely
they're all
excited to
so
mess with
freaking.
the players that are going to be at my
Oh
table,
my
and I
gosh.
mean that in like truly like. There's no malice there at all. I am never out to like get a player or get the team.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had an actual TPK. Maybe I've had a close. I've had a you've been downed, but I let them sweat it out. We took a break, and then I let them like truly ponder the do we make new characters, which was always fun. And then we
yeah.
came back and did stuff. But yeah. So like
Well,
we've got this castle, and then you've got what
welcome to the new
you've
castle.
got two different castles in England this year.
Yes, we
The
have
one in
one.
November at
Mhm,
Lumley,
and
and
there's
then you've got a brand new one, right?
Yep, it'll be first time we'll be at that castle, in Darlington, in July, right after, the US castles. You could buy a ticket and pop over because
I
pop
mean,
right on over to the UK and,
yeah.
play some more D&D in a castle. Yeah, so, this is a new castle for you, so it's first time for everything. You're able to get your first TPK. There are still spaces left in your table for the second round,
My
July
second
6th
one,
through
right?
10. And your second
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
full up. So if you want to play at the GM Tim's table, you might want to do it soon because he fills up very fast. Because like you say, this is the vibe. It's so much
It's
fun,
super fun.
and it's super fun. And I know we're almost at time, but we started a little late, so I think we can go on a little bit longer because we're having so much
I'm
fun
good if you're
chatting.
good.
And we have another. I'm
Okay.
great. I can
All
go
right,
all day
question us,
talking to
people.
you.
I know there's people watching because I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
this sounds fun. Tell me more. Hit
we have
questions.
We have a couple of questions. Tom Nelson said, I attended D&D in a castle in April 2024 and had a fantastic time. Other than the Chronicle mode, what other changes or updates in D&D in a castle have been implemented since then? I'll do but I would love to hear from you too, what you've seen in the DM side. But for us, we have more D&D weekends that we are offering that you can come do D&D in a castle. So it's more of like you're taking the one table and you're having really fun with your DM. So they are more of it's a slightly shorter, but we've got more of those, and those are awesome and fun too. We also have we have a big meta narrative that we're kind of adding now throughout the event. So you're coming in, there's still more of an overarching theme, and you're able to earn kind of help along the storyline as the week progresses in your event too. So we've always trying to bring new things and just make it exciting. But really, the focus is the game, and you will get a different game with a different DM every time. It's just that's why we have so many repeat players. I think because it's just really exciting to get to see the different styles, or people go back to play the same DM, but have different. There's a lot make fun of it, I think, is just having a great time with players at the table playing a game that you just love in a freaking castle, as we like to say, in a freaking
Yeah,
castle. So what
yeah,
have you experienced? Kind of like
and
a
just kind of like being
go ahead.
sorry. You were like your camera's a little bit laggy. I think, or I am. I don't know which one, but I don't care. You're awesome. I missed the question because I was focused on the delay. I'm sorry. ADHD brain is an evil, evil thing.
So what has changed in the last year at D&D and Castle, or at least what have you noticed
Oh,
changes?
well, yeah, the DM University. So
Oh yeah,
the in between times, it was super fun.
thank you.
I wear this shirt and the jacket like it's going out of style. I I'm working on courses, by the way, so that I can, the next time I do both, I can be like, oh, by the way, here.
So what is
Yeah,
DM
it's been
University?
pretty wild. Oh, I'm not
What is
telling. That's just. Oh,
you have
what
to
is
come
DM University? So I thought you said, what are you working on? No, figure it out, Harper. Go for it, Harper. You figure it out. I'm so sorry. DM University was like, you could sign up for classes and you could sit with the DMs. So we had like lessons on like things that we're good at. Mine was supposed to be improv, but as you can see, it devolved into like something else entirely because God forbid I keep a topic. And then there was question times where you could like ask the DM like, how do you do this? Hey, I had this issue. How did this happen? And I really enjoyed that. I actually think that was one of the best things. That was actually one of my favorite moments of the castle this year, because I got to do something that really forced me to explain how I build my adventures. And I knew how I did it, but I had never put it into words before. And then having to do that was like super helpful. So I'm actually building like a proper, like, I'm going to try and build like a class, like you can take and how to build an adventure the way I do it. We'll see if that happens more than just like, hey, I'd like to do this thing. But yeah, that's the vibe I've got. Can I answer a question I saw? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yep.
Aura asked, how in depth of a character backstory would you like to see for a character coming to your table? Ooh, that's a good one. 1 to 3 paragraphs. That's it. I am sure that there are DMs who want more. And there's likely DMs who want less, but I have found that the sweet spot is 1 to 3 paragraphs and 1 to 6-ish NPCs that can be messed with. And the reason for that is if you write too much, then there's no way we can incorporate it into that much time. And if you write too little, then we cannot incorporate you the way you would feel like you got your benefit from playing at the castle. So 1 to 3 paragraphs seems to be that kind of like, like you want to know sort of like family style. You want to know like maybe like a rival or a beau, or maybe one in the same, like a paramour. And then you'd want to know like a paragraph to kind of like give us an idea on what drives your character or what the character's goals are. That's kind of like the best. I also do an extra thing where I give you, the player, questions that help me finesse the game to your styles. So one of the things that I've always asked my players at the castles since I think the second year is, what is something you as a player has always wanted to happen in a game and never had happen? And that way I can give you like an experience that's truly kind of like unique for you. That's been lots of fun.
That's great. I think that's great for players to know what to bring to your table, which we have 2 more questions. I think we have time for 2 more questions before we should wrap up. And
do we have to wrap up? Can't you and I just keep talking? What else?
Put it in the chat if you want to talk for the next 2 hours. I got nothing going on. No.
Yeah. Justin, you got anything going on? I'm good. Let's just keep going. Justin's like,
Justin Dwyer is
I am busy, people.
Background helper. He's in Germany, so he's having a good time.
Oh, the heck with him. He can suck it up. It's only 8 o'clock there.
Yeah. So the wall asks, what are some favorite character flaws or virtues to exploit as a GM? As the GM.
That's hard. I don't know that I have a favorite. I like it when they play along. So I have a golden box rule. The character sheet has a golden box around it. I cannot touch anything on that character sheet without express permission, because it's the only thing that the player has complete agency over. So once we've built it, that's it. You control that. I control everything else. So I don't get to touch that actual character sheet. So when I get my characters built, I ask them to like build into the character sheet what parts of that backstory that I can't touch, and then what parts that I can mess with. So like I witnessed something or something, like I witnessed somebody kill someone. And what I would do is, if that was outside of the golden box, then maybe they only thought that they witnessed something, and I would totally like to twist that trope on its head and then force the player to role play in that moment. Like, no, that's not what happened. I saw it. No, that's what you think happened. Right. And as long as it's outside that golden box, then I can mess with it. So I think that's a better way to answer that question. I don't really have a flaw or a virtue, because I don't think that there's any one that has been like, ooh, that's better than another. I think it's just a matter of finding them and using them to the player's advantage is a better way to put it. Like I had at the last game, Chris was in my last game. He scrolled down a little bit, but we had a player who had kind of like a love in his backstory. And I tried to like hook them right at the start of the series. And the players didn't take the hook, because players, right? And just the moment, and it didn't catch, and that's fine. So instead, I used it later and totally messed with them. I had her become Tatiana in the Curse of Strahd backstory. And so he had to watch this person die, because Tatiana has to die in order for Strahd to become Strahd. That's kind of like one of the key drivers, right, in Strahd's story. And so he watched that person have to die, and he tried to save her, rolled a 1, and it just made it even more perfect, right? Because now he couldn't save her, and then we had to play through that for like the next 3 stories. And then I had it like tie in at the very end, where the two of them finally met in the stars, and it fades. That's one of the parts that made everybody start to cry, was like these two like star-crossed lovers, quite literally star constellations holding hands in the sky. So it's a matter of like, right, like, so we got all of that from this one little hook that they ignored at the beginning, right? So it's I don't think there's a favorite character flaw or virtue. I think it's just as long as they have them. I think having a flaw or a quirk, I hate calling it flaws, because I think that telling somebody they're flawed is wrong, but having a quirk in your character that you play into is awesome. One of my favorite quirks in the movie that everybody can kind of associate with, watch Oceans 11, 12, 13, and every single scene, Brad Pitt has food in his mouth. Every single scene, he's got food in his mouth or food in his hand, and that character is always eating or sucking on a candy or playing with gum or something. And a character kind of quirk like that brings such relevance to your game, because now it's something either that everyone just notices or that you get to interact with, right? And I think that that's a good way to look at it. Well, I hope that helps. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So it shows at your table, nothing's safe except the golden
Yeah,
box.
truly.
Anything outside
Anything else outside of the golden
box?
box? And if you like, no, this part of my backstory is in the golden box, I'll leave it alone, because I don't want you to feel like I'm forcing you to do something, right? And even when I do mess with it, I still usually end up kind of pulling somebody inside me, like, hey, I'd like to do this. Is that okay? And then, oh yeah, let's do it, right? Like, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Well, we have one more question that ties a little bit to your Chronicle mode. Jeff asked, did you find running Chronicle mode gave you the opportunity to do things you don't get to do at a standard castle table?
Tell a bigger story. So we get to, at the castle tables, a lot of DMs like to just play like a couple levels. I usually treat it like a mini campaign. So every set, I usually had you kind of like leveling up. This one, we did it every day. So like started at level 1, then 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, I think is what we did. So we got to like actually like progress as characters as the story progressed. And I really, really enjoy doing that for all of my games. And I think that the Chronicle mode gave that opportunity more. And because of that, the players got to actually play more into their characters. So I think that you actually get like a deeper story, because you have literally double the time to play into it. Plus, people don't realize this, but you've got the in-between time too. So while you've only got like, 6 days of gaming, it's like 10 days, right? And so that extra time, you get to like reconsider, you get to talk to your other players about what they're doing, about how you're integrating things. You get to like try and finesse or figure out what the DM Tim is doing, because he's an evil dick and he's going to throw something at us and we're going to be ready. You can talk about oh my god, I can't believe he made you actually cause Strahd to exist. They created the existence of every major villain in D&D history, is what my guys did. They even started the Eternal War in Avernus. I was ruthless. So yeah, I think that Chronicle mode gives you, for me specifically, I found Chronicle mode to be a little bit more of a in-depth. I got to go really deep with some of the story backgrounds. I got to really kind of play into it, and I got to really tell a bigger story that you would, double the time, right? So I got a year's campaign with 17. What did we figure out? 17 games worth or something like that was what we mathed out.
Yeah.
So, 17 games times 2, 34 months, right? So yeah, it was wild. That's over a year. That's but you play it in like 6 days. It was nuts. It was nuts, and I loved every minute of it. I truly really want to do another one. I really want to do I want to do like a super gay adventure. I think that would be a lot of fun. Just super queer table, and I think that'd just be wild to have anyways, that's something I'm trying to ponder how to do properly. But yeah, I'm thinking super trope, ruby red slippers as a magic item. Why wouldn't you, right? Right. Anyways, yeah. But yeah, I think that Chronicle mode is amazing. Standard castle, standard. There's nothing standard about a castle.
Really
it's nothing standard. The non-Chronicle mode, I think, is just story mode and Chronicle mode. Let's go there.
There you go. Very well. Well, it has been awesome. We could chat all day, and again, I think it's a great example of what it would look like to be on your at your table. It's so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to your adventures in the USA this summer. We still have some more tickets available for the July 6th through 10 at the GM Tim's table. So you can go ahead and click on the QR code or go on to dndinacastle.com. It's so exciting. I could just talk to you forever. Let's let the people, our good people, know where they can find you online before we kind of.
Yeah. So mostly nowadays, I'm on Blue Sky. So it's at the GM Tim on Blue Sky. I'm still on Instagram for now. We'll see what happens with that, because it's not as fun as it used to be. But yeah, Blue Sky for sure. You can hit me up at the GM Tim, or you can just email me, thegmtim@gmail.com, or even my website, thegmtim.ca. And I've got a contact page, and I write a blog and talk about the random bullshittery that I do in life, and it's super fun.
Yeah, and I know you wrote a blog about D&D in the Castle recently too, where they can find that there.
Get more it's super good. I was pretty proud of that one. Yeah,
it was really good. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. This has been so much fun. Absolute blast. We really hope to get to see you at a castle this year. Any one of our castles. We've got some coming up in spring, which still have a few tickets left. We've got our July USA and June, July USA. We've got our UK USA, and then we have November. So lots of opportunities, as well as D&D weekends. And you can play at the GM Tim's table in our July 10. At a beautiful location. So the GM Tim, why don't you just go ahead and bring the people out? Give us an outro for the people, inviting them to come to the castle and play with you at your table.
Come play at the castle with me. I'm sorry. What else did you say? No, seriously. I have a great game. It's super fun. It's this kind of silliness. I mixed in with some serious roles and some pretty intense moments. I have a lot of fun at my games, and I really hope you do too. And I would love to see you at my table. I'm super excited.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you at the castle.
Bye.